Well, we're in the final stretch of what may be a disputed election result in the United States, according to President Trump. Our correspondent monitoring the situation is Sherwin Bryce-Pease, who joins us now live for an update from New York. Sherwin, it's been a long road and the end is near, but it just still seems so far.
Yeah, if this was a story about the tortoise and the hare, I feel like I'm the tortoise, Peter, that's for sure. But we're getting there. We're getting there. You know, we can see the finish line, but it's unclear when, the finished gun, or I suppose they shoot a gun at the start, not at the end. But if there was a gun at the end, we're waiting for it to make some noise. But Biden is close. He has the wind at his back. He has momentum. He's taken the lead earlier this morning in Georgia. He then solidified his electoral college lead by taking the lead in the great state of Pennsylvania. That lead is stretched as those mail-in ballots continue to come out, and the clearest indication yet of the comfort levels in the Biden campaign comes with the announcement that they will be making a primetime address at 8 p.m. local time. Kamala Harris will speak first, then Biden. We don't know if this will be an acceptance speech, what the contents will be, but there is certainly a posture within the campaign that is resonating confidence, while we see the Trump campaign flailing about the United States in terms of various litigation efforts in various states. We just heard an anecdote on one of the networks here about some of the arguments that the Trump campaign is making in their litigation in Pennsylvania, where one of the arguments is that they're complaining that Republican observers were not allowed in the room. And I think the judge asked the Republican lawyer if there were are you sure there were no Republican observers in the room? And that's where the lawyer equivocated. So the expectation there is that this would be the third legal case brought by the Trump campaign, following one in Georgia and one in Michigan, that very possibly could be thrown out. So we're seeing a sequence here in terms of the lack of success in presenting evidence in the litigation efforts here. But definitely the sentiment here is that Joe Biden will be the 46th president. He's leading in Nevada, he's leading in Arizona, he's leading in Georgia, he's leading in Pennsylvania, and the path left to Donald Trump appears only to be through the courts, Peter.
All right, and I suppose it's an indication that the Secret Service has already begun doing its work for around Joe Biden. I made this comment to my colleague Aaron Berger yesterday. I said to him, wow, doesn't it look like Joe Biden's Secret Service detail has almost doubled? And that tends to happen when you become the president-elect. Look, he had pretty decent security since he was a primary candidate, a former vice president. You know, when Kamala Harris was nominated, she got an extra dose of security. But they upped that a notch when the arrows point in a certain direction. So yes, I'm sure his personal space is something that will be forgotten for the next 4 years, because he's going to be surrounded by guys in aviator glasses, guys and gals in aviator glasses with earpieces coming out of their ears. All right, so perhaps finally, before we let you go for a while, any indication in terms of time when finalish results will be announced?
Yeah, we're not going to get a complete final result, right? It's not going to be like the IEC does in South Africa and announces who the winner is. But we are waiting for that state. Pennsylvania, let me give you the calculations here. So Biden, for example, has a lead in Pennsylvania of 13,000. That is extended over the hours. So as more of the mail-in ballots are processed from the Philadelphia county, which is heavily populated by Democrats, so the expectation is, based on the trajectory that has brought us here, Biden will extend his lead. But we also know that there are 120,000 ballots still to be tabulated in the state of Pennsylvania. So the mathematicians are watching to see how those numbers come down, the 120,000, the extent to which Biden is then able to stretch his lead, and then there will be some, magic mathematics in terms of, does he have a lead that's big enough in terms of the number of ballots that still have to be counted. And that's when I think we are going to get a pronouncement, a projection that Biden wins Pennsylvania. 253 plus 20 gives you 273. That'll be the Electoral College, and we hope that'll happen actually before he comes out and speaks at 8 p.m. tonight.
Yeah, and in a normal year, that's when the
losing candidate phones the other one, but we don't think that's going to happen today.
Not going to happen, not going to happen, definitely not.
All right, Sherwin, we'll talk to you again a little bit later on. Thanks very much indeed. That's our